Glassboro, New Jersey. The GCEN presents high school football. Today, it's the Group 3 championship game as the Camden Panthers take on the Delsea Crusaders. Hello again, everyone. Rob Christ along with my partner Frank Delano. A postcard picture perfect day. Unbelievable weather. It feels like the spring out here. Two outstanding football teams matching up once again. Delsea and Camden, these two teams met early in the year. It's going to be smash mouth football. Delsea comes into today. They want to make history. Fourth consecutive championship. That would be the first time for any team above Group 1 to be able to do that here in South Jersey. On the other side of the football, you have a Camden team that just absolutely has talent. 4 Division I players, 5th going to Maine. You might say 5 then Division I football players. Frank, you're a guy that faced the Camden team a couple of years ago, a team that was ranked number 1 in South Jersey. Somehow you had to figure out a way to beat that talent. How did you do it? How will Delsea do it?
Well, first of all, you just got to convince, your teammates, your players that this is week 10, or in this case, it's week 12. For us, it was week 10, and you got to make that mindset is they got to find a way to beat us. And I think the ultimate battle is before you even get there. You have to win that battle, convince your kids, make them believe in you can win, and that's not going to be an issue today. You know, you got Delsea who is chasing history. You know, you're not going to question the Crusaders and get, is there any doubt in their mind that they can win this football game? So I think that's half the battle. And then you got to figure out how to contain 4 or 5 Division I kids and move the football, and I kind of think that's kind of done up front.
You know, you talk about up front for Camden, they have bookends in Johnson and Holloway who are extraordinary, 200 tackles combined, but you have Hawkins who is tremendous in the secondary. I mean, it's just talent all over the place. This is a defense that can control a football game.
Oh, no doubt about it. They got everything you want. You have toughness, they have speed, you have change of direction, you can track people down, they can cover. So it presents big challenges today, but again, you know what Delsea's trying to accomplish, and does that play in? I think it's one of those chess matches where Delsea's trying to score 36, they score 36 a game, rush the ball, and and Camden only gives up 12 a game.
Well, again, you talk about Delsea being able to rush the ball. This is a Crusaders team that has only thrown the ball 26 times all year. They just kind of dazzle you. They have a formula, they stick to the formula, and no one has really been able to solve it.
No, it's not. And it's not a secret. They're going to run a bunch of different formations. They're going to run a bunch of different options between veer, inside veer, outside veer, between midline. And they've rushed the ball 505 times this year. For over 4,000 yards. So again, there's no magic formula here.
Ron Johnson for Camden is, again, just one of the many forces. He's a guy that plays on both sides of the football. He scored the go-ahead touchdown in the first matchup against Delsea. Of course, Delsea came back in the last quarter and came away with the victory. But defensively, keep an eye on him.
No doubt. Obviously, he's Michigan-bound. When you get a guy like Ron, he's a special guy. He's playing as a D-end. Wouldn't be surprised if I see him slide in today, a little bit of tackle to try to take care of Williams, their fullback. And so what are you going to do with him? I mean, he's an edge rusher. But I don't think the pass game's going to come into matter. It's going to be how physically tough is he going to be, and make sure your best player's got to play great today. There's no doubt about it. And he's just another one of those pieces to the puzzle to have to play great.
For Delsea, so many different weapons, but the one guy we want to talk about is a quarterback, Quinn Collins, because this is a guy who has been able to manage this offense. And speaking with head coach Sal Marquez before the game, what does he do so well? He manages the game. He has the right reads. That's what he's going to need to do today.
No doubt. And you're sitting here, here we are pregame of a Group 3 final, and we're talking about a quarterback who threw for 244 yards. But when you have that three-headed monster of Williams, Walker, and Collins, you need that guy who manages, I say manage, but this is a guy who runs this offense. We played Delsea in 2009 and had a gentleman by the name of Chris Jackson, who we thought we had Austin Medley bottled up. Here he was in the end zone with the football. The play was blown dead. He had the ball in his hand. Very similar skill set that I see. They ask him to do a ton of different things. Traditional veer option, double option. They ask him to go outside veer, and then it becomes that midline, which makes them so dangerous. Watch him without the ball in his hand. He's carrying out fakes 10, 15, 20 yards down the field. So he might say he's a manager in the offense. He's the orchestrator, and there's no doubt about that.
Quinn Collins comes into this game with 18 touchdowns, 16 on the ground. He's going to face a team that boasts 2 players headed to Syracuse University, 2 players headed to the University of Michigan. It's going to be a great matchup. We talked about the weather, perfect conditions, playing on the turf. Camden's excited about that to utilize their team speed. We've been looking forward to this one all week long. We'll have it for you in just a moment. Welcome back to Rowan University. Delsea and Camden, Group 3 state championship, a rematch from earlier in the season. It was a great game earlier. Delsea coming from behind. Today's weather, 50 degrees and sunny. Frank, it feels like it's spring.
It does. You don't get this weather in the beginning of baseball. We're bundled up in park and here we are. We should be hitting fungos today, right?
It's funny because in speaking with both coaches, they said that this is our preference. We want to play with ideal, pristine conditions. They got just what they wanted.
You're getting it. You're getting it. There are absolutely no excuses today. Beautiful day, and hey, it should be a great one, Rob.
Kicking off, it will be Delsea. Delsea has always boasted a strong kicking game. Brad Dobzinski, one of the better kickers in South Jersey, and I'm pretty sure that that's just one more area where Sal Marquez really feels that he has an edge.
No doubt. Kicking games in big games, any game, but especially in this, you're talking about just catching punts, being able to change field positions, you name it. And then you got electric returners back there. I'm going to be anxious to see. Are they going to choose to go deep, or are they going to try to squib? Because you clearly have some impressive returners back there waiting to field this ball for Camden.
Well, it should be an outstanding football game. Camden boasting a boatload of talent, and we are underway. Dobzinski's kick is a low-line drive, mishandled at the 10-yard line. Now cutting it back right up the middle. Look at the speed across the 30-yard line, and Dobzinski comes up with the touchdown-saving tackle at the 39-yard line. A fine return for Camden to start things. Rashid Pollard.
Hawkins.
Hawkins.
That your big player getting out of the gate, first touch. It could have been awful. Starting the first possession of the game, having the ball inside your own 10-yard line. Here you are. Now you got great field position. First and 10. Here we go. Let's see what Camden's offense can do.
We spoke before about just what Hawkins brings to the table, his dynamism, and you saw it on display there. First down and 10 for Drew Harris and the Camden Panthers. They'll show a variety of sets. 4 receiver set, single man in the backfield. First play is a handoff right up the gut, and a great push by that Camden line results in a big pickup of about 7.
That's tremendous. Just straight ahead. That just say, are we better than you up front on the first play here? That was Thomas. That's a kid who's got over 500 yards rushing. Trying to get him going. Little motions, little jumps early. Trying to get a couple different alignment checks. I'm sure. Trying to see if he can get maybe Delsea misaligned.
Thomas scored a touchdown in the game against Delsea earlier in the year. 4 receivers bunched right. 5 receivers set. Now he'll regroup and take the handoff right up the gut once again. And right now Camden is, as you said, they're just going to try to impose their will.
And that's kind of the thing. Sometimes people try to get in the track meets with them and try to outscore Camden. This is them being the other way around, saying, hey, let's maybe limit some possessions on Delsea's standpoint, because their offense is explosive. So first 2 plays on the ground, first down, hey, ball to midfield.
We have 12-minute quarters in high school. These teams like to run the ball. We may be out of here in about an hour and a half. Thomas again, and this time Thomas finds running room scarce.
Try a little zone there, little zone, little outside zone. Defensively, Delsea was right there for a minimal gain. It's going to be so critical for both teams to win first down. Have to win first down, get yourself in a positive field position, as well as staying ahead of the sticks.
Second down and 7 for Harris and the Panthers. Deep drop. Harris with time, throws it down the middle, has a man by himself, and unable to hook up with his sprinting wide receiver. Third down now.
Well, that's one that you might want back later in the game. There's nobody around. They went 5 wides, cleared it out nice, and you had number 3 right down the chute there. Perez just couldn't connect early.
Well, Perez illustrating some of that team speed. In that case, even if he underthrows him by 5 yards, Perez is coming away with the reception. 4 receivers set, 3 split right. Harris has done a tremendous job engineering this offense. throughout the season. They'll need to do it again this year. A lot of time. Throws underneath. Short hops his intended man. And it is going to be the first punt of the game for Camden.
Great protection right there. You know, you had Harris being able to scan through, go to his first read, second read. He ended up having Pratt open, just couldn't connect. But there's your first third down conversion.
So Camden forced to punt it away. Ball spotted at the 48-yard line, and Delsea Maxwell lined up at about the 18. It's a high punt. Maxwell calls the fair catch and takes it at about the 22 to 23-yard line.
At about the 23-yard line, it will be first and 10 Delsea.
There you see a look at these two vaunted offenses. 30 points per game for Camden, 36 plus for Delsea. And defensively, Camden with the decided edge. Delsea had that one game that was a bit of an anomaly. The other games, they are averaging, against Hamilton, they got blown out. But the other games averaging under 12 points allowed per game. First and 10.
Check.
And again, we see some of the dynamism of this Delsea team. The carrier, Chris Bascom.
Tremendous play there by Terrence Moore, setting the edge. You know, Delsea tried to do a little shift, tried to get a little numbers advantage over.
397 yards rushing per game. That is not a typo. It's amazing.
No, it's not. And, you know, they've rushed for over 4,000 yards on the year, 505 carries. You know, and they put up some big time numbers.
Second down and 11. Quinn Collins, your quarterback, under center. And again, just not a whole lot there. We may have ourselves a defensive battle, despite the fact that we have two teams with vaunted offenses. This is two heavyweights.
It is. There's no doubt. And clearly, both teams are coming out trying to establish the run, and it's just all going to be what you're going to end up doing from Camden's perspective. Are we trying to take away the fullback? Are we trying to take away the Q? And how they're going to defend it within the box. Because you know Delsea's not going to try to sit here and go over top of you. It's how are you going to play with your front eight to get maximum people in the box.
Collins has only thrown the ball, or Delsea's only thrown the ball 26 times. This will be 27. Collins throws, has his man, but it sails, and it's 3 and out, as Bascom would have had to be about 7'5" to pull that one in.
Great pressure, trying to get Collins to roll out a little bit, trying to give him that run pass option. Camden did a really nice job there, sealing that up and locking up in coverage.
Well, again, we'll have a punt here, and we have spoken at length about top-notch players on this Camden team. Brad Hawkins back to receive the punt. We saw in the opening kickoff just what he is capable of. Punt is short. It's going to bounce at the 48-yard line. Hawkins gets a big bounce. Now he'll look for room. Beats his first man. He's across the 40 and down at about the 45-yard line. And before that punt, you were waving Hawkins to come forward.
Yeah, a little bit forward. And also, you see they got the way their alignment was, looked like they were going to try to pin them in and try to punt away from them. You don't expect really to kick to these guys, but they also credit their Keyshawn Fowler there, who made a great open field tackle. And that's one of the hardest things to do, I think, in football is open field, and he did a great job on a Division I athlete.
Yeah, open field tackle's tough enough. Against Brad Hawkins, the degree of difficulty has just increased. Drew Harris now looking at a 5-receiver set, and whistle blows timeout Delsea. This is a situation where Camden's probably trying to show them a few things that they haven't seen before and making them, at the very least, address it, burn a timeout.
No doubt. You know, again, not seeing the tape, you know, of everything that happened in game one. And when you're getting that, very rarely do you get mulligans. You know, you get redos. And then when you get a redo in a stage like this, it's, you know, you try to take a look at game one. Hey, how did they attack us? How did they defend us? What can we do? Maybe if we ran something similar, give a little slight variation, and maybe create a wide open window like we did on, you know, the Camden did early on second down when they had to the receiver, number 3, Perez, wide open down the seam. So, it's a chess match. The jitters probably are just starting to go away a little bit, and they're going to settle down and start playing football.
One of the things that Coach Savage talked about for Camden is that Drew Harris is a much different quarterback now than he was earlier in the year. They have a new signal caller in Harris, and they have a guy who's able to kind of control the offense. He's intelligent, and he feels like that's the big difference between his team earlier in the year versus now.
Balance is a great thing.
Again, a 5-receiver set for Harris. In motion, it's Perez. Deep drop, Perez, and it's Harris across midfield, and a pickup of about 8. It's just so hard to defend. You're sending everybody out. You see a crease, and you have another athlete here who's going to pick up some yards.
No doubt. It's that extra dimension. When you got to put the quarterback into the run factor, too, you're as a D coordinator, you're sitting there, you're always counting up men, and, hey, 5.5 on one side to 5.5 on the other, and trying to get yourself balanced. And, well, then all of a sudden you throw the quarterback in, you got a +1 factor that sometimes –
you can't afford to have a spy in that situation.
You can't, not with 5 wides and guys that are running verticals down the field at you.
Harris working again out of the shotgun. He'll hand it off. And again, you see Hawkins, first down.
You got to get your best ball. Got to get your best players the ball. It's a great little adjustment. If you can put him in sort of in a Where's Waldo situation, sometimes he's lined up as the one receiver by himself. Then you put him as a number 2 to a 3 receiver side. Then you put him in the backfield. It presents a ton of challenges for the D.
42-yard line, first down and 10 Panthers. Pitch. Cutting it back about 5 yards on the carry. And Camden has already showcased just the many talents they have. Terrence Moore on that particular carry.
Yeah, that was interesting. It went toss away from the strong side of the formation. Three receivers were close to the Delsea bench down here, and a little toss away. It was a nice little play design and nice little pickup of 6-7 yards on first down.
Second down and 4. Camden has illustrated the ability to move the football. And again, an empty backfield here for the Panthers. Harris back to pass. A lot of time. Now flushed out of the pocket. He'll run. Enough for the first down across the 25. And now angles out of bounds. Just so many things that you have to be cognizant of if you are a Delsea defender.
There's no doubt. You're trying to defend really talented guys on the perimeter with, verticals going. Now all of a sudden you give that kid a little crease, the cue a little bit, he can go. Now here you go. Here's a red zone opportunity that, if Camden, they need to punch something in here to, make Delsea play catch up. Now you're looking at great vision. Get what you can. Get out of bounds. And hey, let's get ourselves in good field position.
First and 10, Panthers at the 17-yard line. Harris with Thomas in the backfield. Flushed out of the pocket and sacked. Well, from his blind side, Harris did not feel the pressure and paid the price.
No doubt he did. That pocket collapsed quickly. Malcolm Henry, I think, he led the charge there. He's back. He's looking, scanning a little bit. That whole pocket collapsed, and the whole basically front 5 were able to get in and cause some issues there. But I credit Malcolm Henry on that sack. That's a big play. Now you're behind the sticks.
About a 6-yard loss. That'll bring up second down, 16. Hawkins split wide left, trips right. Harris, 3-step drop, looking for Hawkins, throws it up, caught, out of bounds.
Out of bounds.
That is great coverage there by Taj Samil there. That was real. You're talking again, the lead athlete right there. Here you go, quarterback giving him a great opportunity to catch a ball, perfectly thrown, but look at the defender's right there. He does stumbles at the end, and Hawkins just couldn't get his foot down. You need one in high school, and fortunately he couldn't get it down.
Third down now and 16 for Camden. Again, a 4-receiver set with Thomas in the backfield. Harris over the middle, has his man, and slung down at about the 15-yard line as Harris finds Julian Pratt. Decision time here. 4th down at the 15. We'll see whether they go for it.
That's a tremendous tackle there by the free safety from Delsea. Not letting any yards after the catch there. That was a tremendous play.
So 4th down, a pickup of about 10, results in a 4th and 6. Big play here early, 4:50 and counting remaining in this first quarter. Delsea puts some pressure on, throws, it's caught. And it looks gonna be very close, probably a first down from this angle.
That is, man, that's a great catch. Big time play from his knees. Flushed out just a little bit. That was real good pressure there by number 33, correct that. That's Dylan Landy. Real good pressure there, and that's just a really nice catch by Singleton.
Well, that could be a defining play in this football game. We'll see. 1st down and goal now for Camden. Harris, quick drop, looks, thrown up, caught, touchdown. Again, Brad Hawkins illustrating his strength and athleticism. Camden has struck first.
That's talking about throwing a guy open. That was a tremendous back shoulder throw on a fade route. That's a lot of real estate out there for Samil to try to defend Hawkins. And again, pretty good position. Can't fault the DB there. That was a very well thrown ball to Hawkins' back shoulder, and he just made a real nice play. In that situation, you kind of let the direction of the ball determine the route, and that's exactly what happened.
Wharton on to attempt the point after. His kick is blocked. Well, we talk about defining plays. We'll see whether that comes back to bite him. A fine play made, and Delsea, despite giving up the touchdown, comes away feeling like at least they have a moral victory after the block kick.
That's a great block by Kalan Borgett. He actually has a block punt this year as well. So, again, that could be a very big play. Here you go. Look at this again. Right, that's pretty good coverage. And sometimes you just got to say, hey, to Q, let the trajectory of the ball determine the route. So you want him to cut it off, you throw it at that back shoulder, and which he did a great job throwing it to the receiver's left shoulder there. He opens up, and it's one of the toughest routes to defend in football.
Let's take a look at the block here.
You're looking off the edge there. You're always taught, hey, block your inside guy. They sent 2 off the edge. Your wing stepped out with that, and they knifed right underneath it, and Borgett was able to get it. Again, block punt earlier in the season, and now, hey, a big block PAT.
So Bascom to receive the kick of Wharton. Special teams undoubtedly will have a role in the outcome of this game. Kick taken at the 15-yard line to the 20. And a big hit laid out. It looked like somebody's mouthpiece came flying out. And it may have been Clark, the person that laid out the lick.
No doubt. You got to take a lot of pride in special teams. Again, that's really pretty good kick coverage there. Now Delsea's second possession, 3 and out on their previous one. Let's see what they can put together here.
32-yard line. Delsea, their second series, they went 3 and out the first time around. Collins keeps. Collins, maybe a yard.
That's a really good play. Again, swarming to the football. That was kind of their midline option deal. And 17 from Camden made a really good play.
Well, I don't know. On the last play, Ron Johnson really got hit, kind of blindsided, and there's a lot of talk going on down on that field right now.
No doubt. There's a lot of pride right now going in this game. Everyone wants the title. They know what's on the line here and what's at stake.
We have officials timeout. I don't know if it looks like an equipment issue.
It's a helmet issue, yeah. Most players usually escorted out on that.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, from a coaching standpoint, isn't that the rule? He's supposed to go to the sideline, yes or no?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you can use that strategically, right?
No doubt. No doubt.
So that first series, or the second series actually, by Camden, I mean, again, not only do they have tremendous athleticism, but you have so many players who are so strong up in that front line. They got a good push, did Camden, on the line, but they also utilized the different skill set that they have.
No doubt.
Collins hands it off, breaking out into the open, across midfield, and finally cut down. A fine run for Delsea.
Charles Walker right there. They did a really nice job again, tilting run strength. They went 2 wide receivers. In fact, one was ineligible. And now here you go. You look, he's just at this open field. There's no one there. It just becomes a numbers game. Great vision, great cutback by Walker. Now all of a sudden, hey, that's Delsea's first down. Now they're all of a sudden they're right there in field position, over in Camden territory, and then they're ready to go here.
Walker cuts it back at the end. Another nice move, picking up an additional 7, brought down by Parker on the play. First down and 10, and Collins again hands it this time right up the middle.
Again, they're working away from that 2 receiver side. In that formation there, number 8, who's actually, again, ineligible. So you're sitting there, you're trying to defend. What are you doing? Are you defending? Where's run strength there? Is it to those 2 receiver side, or is it back away? And there it looked like they ran some type of inside veer.
Interesting, as Delsea's deception is just such a big part of their success. Second down and 6. Inside of 2.5 minutes remaining, Camden on top 6-0. Collins again hands it right up the gut, and that'll be very close to a first down. Again, you have to respect the escapability, the athleticism of Collins, and that just opens up holes for this offense.
It does, and then once again, Collins does a tremendous job carrying out his fake. Just if he can pull a defender out of the box for a half a second, get your eyes on that cue. Just by that time, you got a guy like Williams who's got really good speed and he's a thumper. He can get, he's by you.
So Williams, your ball carrier, and again, he's your primary weapon. They're just going to create a push and get enough for the first down there. So Delsea trying to impose their will just as Camden did last series. And this is Delsea football right here.
This is, yeah. We're not seeing the ball in the air, but it's all predicated on first and second down. They're staying ahead of the sticks. Their first possession, they had third down and 12, and they were kind of forced to throw the ball. But now all of a sudden, hey, it's first down. Then it becomes 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4, and 3rd and 1. In that case, that was just a QB sneaked it, but a tremendous push up front.
Collins underneath center. And he'll hand off. Again, it's Williams. They'll carry the pile. And a pickup of 6 or 7. They don't dazzle you. They just pound you.
They do. And I think it's interesting the way, Camden is trying to defend him a little bit, because you got Johnson, who, remember in the opening, we said, don't know if he's going to play outside of that defensive end. He's pretty much playing over the nose right now, just trying to cause havoc. And hey, credit the offensive line here at Delsea, embracing the challenge and moving the football.
Same thing with Hawkins. I mean, Hawkins is typically a defensive back, and they're going to move him around. They pretty much have him as a middle linebacker.
On this play, they do, absolutely. Yeah.
Collins keeps. Collins to the outside and slung down from behind. Hawkins took him for a ride. 3rd down and about 2. Well, as we mentioned, this is Delsea football, true to form. They've thrown one ball that fell incomplete. And this drive has featured runner after runner, big chunk after big chunk. Critical 3rd down, probably 4-down territory.
No doubt. No doubt. Here we go. Big 3rd down.
Collins keeps, and I don't know if he made it.
No, I think it's going to Coach Marquez has an interesting dilemma here. It's 4th down. Is he going to try for a field goal? Because I know he's got a pretty decent kicker. It's going to be 4th and 1, but he's got the whole quarter to think about it. The break in the quarter, rather.
Well, that'll do it here from Glassboro, New Jersey. Rowan University, your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week. Camden on top of Delsea, 6-0 in the Group 3 championship game.
Hey, go right back to it.
Yep. Welcome back to Rowan University. Camden on top of Delsea, 6-0. Second quarter about to begin. Rob Christ along with Frank Delano. Frank, first quarter is pretty much as advertised.
Oh, it is. You have your big playmakers making big plays for Camden with Hawkins with the touchdown on it. Again, tremendously thrown ball. And now here you go. This plays right in the strength of Delsea. They're just pounding it right now and trying to, impose their will.
4th down and 1. Williams in the backfield for Collins. The handoff, and it's Williams, and we have multiple fouls here. It looks like in the area where we see holding typically. If that's the case, then we're probably looking at a punt.
You might want to play field position. You might want to think about it because you're going to be back. If it is a hold, which is usually the spot for it, as you just said, you're going to be looking at a 4th and 11. At the 38.
It's a face mask.
Or you can just accept, take the penalty and keep on going with your drive.
I did not see the face mask. Let's take a look. You saw it right there in the replay.
Right there, yep.
Yep.
And no doubt, and Williams is asking for it, but he didn't realize there was already 2 flags sitting there behind him. So again, it's a big play. They were getting the first down, but now, you put that penalty. Here you go, it's Delsea's first red zone trip.
Earlier today, we had the opportunity to do the Clayton and Pennsville game, and Clayton shot itself in the foot repeatedly as a result of penalties, and this might hurt as well for Camden. 1st down and 10 at the 12-yard line for the Crusaders. Williams in the backfield for Collins and the Crusaders, and we may have another penalty. No, it's a timeout for Camden. So, Frank, we mentioned in the open that you had success against Camden previously when you game plan for a team that just boasts so much talent, so much athleticism. I mean, what's the mindset here?
The mindset is, again, it turns into that belief, but again, it's got to come down to the execution of a game plan. And when you're looking at it, there's got to be a weakness, and you got to try to find it. But there's not many when you're looking at a team like Camden.
What is Camden's weakness?
What we tried to, when we were attacking, we were just trying to create numbers advantages and try to, hey, how can we get one more body, at the point of attack than they had. So again, you're looking at how they're playing your things with different techniques, with interior, inside the box, and then you're looking at how they adjust in coverage to sets. Is the front 4 in their case matching the back end? Are they going run strength to one side, pass strength to the other? And then you start motioning people and jumping and trading people around. And we thought if we can cause a little bit of deception, a little bit of confusion, and maybe, give ourselves a chance. The last thing we wanted were 3 and outs and 3 incompletes. And that's, a lot of times we saw people on film, Camden would score fast. The other team wanted to score faster. Next thing you know, an interception was a pick. Now you're down 14, 21 points. Like, what just happened?
Yep.
So, that's...
1st and 10. Delsea, the handoff towards the end zone, just shy. Fine run by Charles Walker, and he'll be just a hair shy of the 1st down.
Again, they're just overloading the side there. Now you bring that back over. If you take a look here, they're just getting a beautiful block on the perimeter there. That's Neil Parker tracking it down. The kid, the youngster going to main. But that's the 2nd or 3rd time that they've secured the edge on jet sweep there.
Great play by Parker, as you mentioned, on his way to the University of Maine. That speaks to his ability as a football player. 2nd down and short. Collins looks to find a seam, and he's punished, but not before picking up the 1st down.
Unbalanced line, 2 tight ends, brought an extra tackle over down here to the boundary just to run quarterback sneak. Just trying to find a little crease in there, and it should be enough, as the ref just indicates, a 1st down. And it's going to be tough for Camden. Someone's got to come here and try to cause a turnover, because you're giving them 4 downs, a team that has rushed for 4,000 yards on the season. 4 downs to gain a foot.
Well, let's look for Rashad Williams here. He had 130 yards and 2 touchdowns against Seneca, and he's pretty much their go-to guy. He's lined up in the backfield for Collins. Williams, touchdown.
Great call there. They went tackles over again, left it back in the backfield weak. Now you saw Camden all shifting over, and then it just became a little belly in there. Tremendous play call by Coach Marquez. Now taking advantage of, hey, they just hit it like 3 or 4 times. They've hit the strong side of that. Now you're adjusting, and you need a foot. You need that 1 foot. Give it to your big guy and say, hey, let it eat.
We talked before about special teams, and kicking is a strength of this Delsea team. We'll see if that continues to hold form. Dobzhansky's kick is blocked. So ironically, we're tied at 6. And the tennis match continues.
Now, we talked about it maybe being a pitcher's duel the way it got out of the gate, but I think both offenses are going to start hitting their stride here. And that was a tremendous drive here. See, as you're looking again, great block there by number 44, Jake Calloway. Well, he did a phenomenal job pinning the edge, and then he had a lead back in there as well for Williams. Great job up front, all around there. And it was a really, really well executed drive there.
Camden coming into today. The last 3 weeks played their arch rival Woodrow Wilson twice.
And that's a key. Delsea hasn't played a game in 15 days.
Mm-hmm.
Their season was over before the playoffs started technically. So, their last game was, it was Kingsway. Is that in there? Now we take a look at that blocked extra point. It looked like it was maybe 72 Stevens in there. He was a big, tall kid. The elevation there looked like it was within question. It almost hit him in the helmet.
Yep.
So that one might have been on the kicker, the holder. We'd have to take a better look at that. But again, that's a big play in the game here. But for both teams, missing an extra point.
Taking the ball up for the Crusaders is
All right, what do you do? What do you do, Rob? I'm going to throw it at you now. They kicked it to Hawkins last time. It went through his legs. He picked it up. He Houdini'd out and ended up getting the ball back at the 40. What do you do?
Well, ironically, I was going to say squib kick, and that's exactly what they did. So even though they returned it to the 44-yard line, if I'm agreeing with a guy that's won 3 state championships in a row, I feel pretty good about myself.
Why not? But here's that X factor is now they got the ball at the 43-yard line, and that's tremendous field position. But that's going to be the battle all day. Do I kick it? Do we kick deep and allow a return, or do we try to play a little bit more conservative?
Camden, excellent field position. Their 3rd series at the 43-yard line. 10:53 left. Thomas in motion. He'll be the lone setback. Thomas, right up the gut, breaks a tackle. Thomas breaks it outside, across the 40, cuts it back in, and now pushed out of bounds at the 30-yard line.
It was the second play of the game. They came right back to it. They start out in that quad look. Here you go. You take a look at the replay here. It's just a straight old dive, and now he's going to make one guy miss right here. Bam! It runs through an arm tackle of Hallowell, and now he's off. And he just makes a nice little S cut, gets to the sidelines, and becomes a big gainer on the play. Now Camden's right back at it.
Well, Thomas picks up a huge chunk, about 28 yards, and he gets the direct snap. Looks like the ball is loose. Who has the football? It is Delsea.
That's exactly, you saw it. He's got to take care of the football. I know it was option. Once you make that decision that I'm a runner, you got to tuck that thing. It's got to be high and tight. You can't be hanging it out. You take a look here. They're trying to get Hawkins in, and your cue here. Look at, and then he just carrying it out there, gets poked away, and one of the Delsea Crusaders come up with it. But if you look there, what was different? Number 1 was the cue. Right? Again, sometimes you got to be careful with Wildcat situations. He's not necessarily comfortable barking out the signals and directing the offense.
Well, again, and it almost looked like he took on the mentality of the quarterback, kind of carrying it like a loaf of bread, and if someone's hungry, they're going to eat it. Handoff again, Delsea now with the momentum, and a fine run there by Walker.
That's just power. That's power
and desire.
Yep, it is. It's a power play right off tackle. Again, right here you're looking at 72, doing a great job pulling. You know, you're getting a great push there. You know, that's going to be the other thing with Johnson and Hawkins playing right over the ball. Now you're going to be allowed to get double teams. It's going to be real easy to double him. So it's going to open up your edge pre-aim with Jet because he's not going to be a factor, and it's going to be power where you can be able to get 2 guys on him.
Second down. We'll call it 3. And it's Collins. Late pitch. Walker, first down.
That's tremendous, and that's where you saw the difference between right there how Collins handled option. Granted, that's a triple option, but it's a quarterback handling the ball. He never made that commitment, I'm going to run. Still had it in that prayer position with ball security. Nice, easy flip, first down, and it's a little bit different than what you saw.
Frank, walk me through the offense. Is every play a quarterback read as to whether or not he's going to hand off, pitch, keep?
Knowing what we know about Delsea, no, there's really probably nothing predetermined. No, it's who you're reading is different based upon what your play is.
All right, we'll talk a little bit more about that momentarily. First down, again, Collins. And this time Collins is slung down around the neck and dropped for a loss. Fine defensive play. You saw the surge of the Panthers.
Yeah, you did. And now, again, that's one of those other design runs with, hey, he's going to read probably that play side tackle. He's going to take a look, and can he make the play on the fullback or not? There was no pitch threat there. You watch that wing fold underneath. That's basically there. It's a midline option, so it's either a give to the fullback or the quarterback following it.
All right, so walk us through the Delsea offense. You said that typically very little predetermined. What reads does he have to make?
He's got they're on multiple levels. It's going to be some variation of that front level guy. It's going to either be the play side tackle, the play side end, whether it be inside veer, outside veer, or midline.
Second down and 12. Collins hands it off and driving forward into the secondary, Taji Samil. Was that Bascom? I'm sorry.
It is, and now see that's what kind of is so unique. So Delsea, they have that traditional. You look at it's a great that misdirection play. That's a basic wing T Sally play. Starting trying to get flow one side, coming back the other. But then you put that in with all the midline and all the veer stuff, and that's what completely presents a whole different challenge because you got to defend wing T different than you defend veer.
Pickup of about 7, third down, and a long 4. Collins loses the football, able to fall on top of it.
That was a little bit of an indecision there. Do I give it? Do I pull it? And by usually traditional rule of thumb, when that ball is allowed to travel from your back hip to your front knee, at that point you have to make it. You just got to give it, because if not, you're going to be yanking, pulling it back and forth. And unfortunately, that was on a critical third down.
Well, that's a big play for Camden. Remember, that was coming off of the turnover. For Gay, the punter, and Hawkins, who we've spoken about at length, back to receive the kick for Camden. Inside of 7.5 minutes now. And a penalty flag. Looks like a delay of game.
It is. It kind of looked like Delsea was trying to figure out protection scheme a little bit. Saw a lot of their shield protectors, which is that second level guy, pointing out, I got him, whether they're going to slide it, whether they're going to man it, whether it's zone to one side, man to the other. Looked like they were just having a little indecisiveness there. It kind of just cost them 5 yards.
Punt is away. It's a low line drive taken at the 25. Hawkins tries to cut it back inside. He's taken down after a turn of about 5 yards. And Camden with, again, pretty good field position.
Pretty good field position, but that's tremendous coverage. That's just everyone staying disciplined in their lanes, trying to keep the ball on their inside shoulder. Did a great job breaking their feet down. There was very little blocking there from Camden's point of view, so Hawkins didn't have a shot.
When you have a punt return team like Camden, as a coach, do you say, listen, we're going to sacrifice length and we're going to try to elevate the ball a little bit, or are you just going to say, listen, we're going to do what we always do?
You kind of do a combination of both, but you kind of want to direction it. You don't want that kid trying to, and low liners could be worse than the high ones.
Harris, rocket screen,
taken at the 28, brought down at the 42, first down Camden. Again, you see Perez, who has shown some of that breakaway speed. Here you see the replay.
And if you take a look, 16 here, Isaiah Anfield makes a tremendous block here on the edge here. Just to spring a 4 or 5 yard gain to a first down.
Bourget had his one arm held, and they were able to let go in time without being called for the penalty there. First down and 10 for Camden. Again, 4 receivers set to the right. Bunching the receivers. Harris throws underneath. Fine catch made. Tremendous throw and an even better catch. Again, we talked about just the different weapons they have. Pratt right here.
No doubt. You see, look, he has time to scan the field, and he throws a beautiful in route. Pratt goes up and gets it. He had 2 receivers wide open there. Very good play design. You're starting with 4 receivers to his side, and you got guys crossing, guys going deep, guys going shallow. It's really, really good play design there.
I mean, when you bunch those receivers as a defensive back, it's your worst nightmare.
It is, because
Harris again, rocket screen to the weak side. One man to beat, cannot beat him. But a nice play design there as they isolate the wide receiver, Dustin Singleton.
And Nick McDonald made a great play because he's on an island. He's on that island there. And the play design there, you make one guy miss, and now you're singing the fight song, and you're setting up the extra point team. But again, you look at now it's 2nd and 5 still, though. It's still an extended handoff. It's quick.
I love the play design there.
No doubt about it. Flooding that far side of the field.
Brad Hawkins split wide right, trips left. Thomas in the backfield for Harris. Handoff, and it is Thomas. Thomas cuts it back across the 25. Down at the 20-yard line. What an electric move. A little head bob, a shimmy, a shake, and he's off to the races.
That's what the great ones do. The great backs look at the next tackler, not the guy who's right there. And, he just, that's a great little jump cut. You look here, it's again, great blocking up front, a hat on a hat, 50 and 56 do a tremendous job right there, made a guy miss. And now here you go. You're approaching that red zone area again. Just stay ahead of the sticks, secure the football. Our guard lost his shoe. What else are we going to see here today? 53, he's chasing he's scrambling to put his shoe back on, 6 carries so far for 60 yards already for Thomas.
Thomas again in the backfield, and he'll get the carry.
Yeah, that was a clear run blitz. After sometimes, teams get into that pattern. Hey, if they just get gashed, they're going to try to get momentum and get it back quickly by sending a bunch of guys, second-level guys, backers blitzing. And that's exactly what Delsea did there, and they just sent more than they could handle Camden up front there.
Terrence Moore, your ball carriers, a loss of a couple yards. 2nd down and 12, and we've seen that Camden is potent in the air. Probably a throwing down here, but you just never know. Trips left. And again, Hawkins split wide right. Setting up the pass, swing pass, inside the 20, inside the 10, finally knocked out of bounds. And it looked like it was Moore.
That is a great play design, getting a guy, Terrence Moore, in space, and you're matched up with a backer. And traditionally, that's a win for, a win for the back. And with his speed and his explosiveness, that became a nice, easy pitch and catch. Get the first down, get out of bounds. Here we are now, ball on the 7-yard line.
First down and goal for the Panthers. 4:30 left. Harris has done a good job controlling this offense. Quick drop, inside, thrown, and in and out of the hands, once again, of Pratt.
Ball was right there. Ball's right there. Again, got 2 slants, trying to clear it out. See if they're going to play man, throw that ball on the outside shoulder and just let them kind of find the front side pylon. Here it is. You're taking a look. Now, hey, pretty good mechanics there. In that situation, you don't want to sit there burping the football. You want to get that ball out of your hand as quick as you can. Made a pretty good throw. That's a ball that definitely Pratt wants back.
It's just a case with Pratt just trying to get to the end zone before he had the football. 2nd down and goal at the 7. Again, it's Thomas in the backfield with Harris. Harris looks over to the sideline to get the offensive play. Harris flushed out of the pocket. He'll use his feet. Angles toward the end zone. Touchdown!
Touchdown, number 12.
That's a really, really good job in the pocket. First thing you saw, though, his eyes went completely down when that rush came. He was, at that point, just looking to survive, just looking to scramble and try to keep this play alive. And then he does a great job finding the end zone, and at that point, it becomes a matter, just a will to get in. So now you're sitting here, Rob, going, hey, it's 12-6. You're probably not not confident in the kick game. I would assume that they're going to go for 2 here.
We shall see. And
Camden lines up for a 2-point conversion.
you are correct. Harris this time underneath center with 2 backs, and Delsea's going to call timeout.
Called by Delsea.
Yeah, you see
Second timeout, they have
Stevens right there, 72 on the left side, 7 to the left side. They kind of had, run strength going to the Delsea bench, and they just something you have to make sure you get this right. It's a big play.
So here you see a little inside the game stuff, right? Typically Harris coming out of the shotgun. He's going to line up under center. Either Coach Marquez says, listen, this is what they're going to do in this situation, or, hey, we haven't seen this before. Let's go talk about it. Then what's going to happen is Camden's going to line up in a different set, right?
They may. They may. Let's take ourselves back to this touchdown again. His eyes, really nice job after he got himself out of the pocket, just found a little space and got in. But going back to now this part of the game, the chess match of it, if that's your best play, and you think that's your best 2-point play, you can't get out of it. Mm-hmm. You really can't. Sometimes we second guess ourselves, we outcoach ourselves, and we sit there. They might leave Hawkins up top all the way, by himself, make him think fade, and then maybe you got tossed down here to the near side. So who knows? The formation looks similar. It looks similar right now. 2 tight end set. Right now,
Looks like Johnson, one of your tight ends. I formation, Harris, and he's just going to try to throw it up, and now they're going to call a penalty here. So this will come back, and it'll be half the distance.
I think they're probably going to be guilty of holding there, not necessarily pass interference, but a hold. Sometimes that's tough. You get 2 guys just jockeying for the ball. They're both kind of pushing, both kind of fighting. The ball wasn't really anywhere near Hawkins, but again, a hold's a hold, and it's pass interference. Take a look there. Oops, we're going back to the touchdown there. And really nice play there by Harris. Just find the end zone, and then at the end, you got to tough that thing out.
Now you're more inclined to run. I formation here. You got Thomas. Harris keeps. Harris throws. Tip. Incomplete.
Hey, little boo. Hey, little play action there. You can't argue with the play call. You're throwing it to a guy going to Michigan.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It is what
and it gives you the run pass option.
No doubt about it. Actually, I think 5 might have been the guy open in the back end who he was throwing to, but the ball's in the air. Johnson's not going to sit there and say, I'm not going to go get it.
Right.
So, hey, that's a great answer. There's 4:17 left, plenty of time for Delsea. But again, this is going to you have enough time to go 4 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards. At some point, do you have to force the ball in the air? Who knows?
Sometimes they say in a game like this, it's the last team that wins. It may be the first team that scores an extra point.
Who knows? If you're not confident in your kicker, then that's the right thing to do.
Oh, absolutely. And hey, listen, when you have a pass interference call on top of it, obviously the odds of your success increase dramatically. I thought that they might just kind of power it up the middle with Thomas, but who's to question when you have, like you said, a kid going to the University of Michigan, just allow him to use his athleticism. Plus, you have the added wrinkle of Harris being able to use his athleticism.
Correct. And again, you just got to be careful if you don't have faith in the kick game to be able to chase scores and chase points. Get as many points as you can. But if you can kick an extra point, kick it, and move on. But clearly, they don't.
Wharton will kick it away for the Panthers, who have taken that 6-point lead, 12-6 here at Rowan University. 4:17 left in the first half. An outstanding game thus far. Low line drive. and it's fielded at about the 15-yard line. Across the 30, and finally brought down to the 37-yard line, and Bascom on the return.
Good return by Chris Bascom. Lead stop by Eli Sloan.
So, again, if you're Delsea, you know, you come away with kind of a moral victory here. You said, listen, all we need to do is drive it down and kick an extra point. We're winning the football game.
Oh, no doubt. It's you wouldn't expect this game to be played any other way. It was going to be back and forth. It's two really good football teams battling each other with the championship on the line. You know, and here you go, right back to Delsea's jet sweep.
Walker breaks a tackle. He won't break the second. Dropped for a loss of 2. Charles Walker, the junior.
17 made another great play tracking that thing down. No, for Camden. Second and 12 here. Get Delsea now behind the sticks. Let's see what they're gonna do here.
I doubt they're going to throw it.
It's fair. Fair point, Rob.
Second and 12. Collins throws it across the middle. Has his man. That's why I coach baseball. Fine play. Again, it's Bascom.
Wide open again, because everyone's thinking, hey, 26 throws all year. You know, there's 2 today already now, you know, in the first half alone. So, you know, we're kind of chuckling up here, but it wasn't a toss pass.
It's a great call, though.
It wasn't a toss pass.
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly thinking what we're thinking, right, defensively.
Sure, no doubt.
First and 10, 47-yard line. Handoff. It's Walker. He cuts it back inside. Walker stops, breaks inside, 35-yard line, first down.
It's a great call. Again, you take a look here. Really nice job by number 55 up there securing that edge. He did a real good job for Delsea, creating that, creating some positive field. Positive blocking there for his back.
Delsea's in great shape. They have 3 minutes remaining at the 35-yard line. Their drives typically are protracted, so they're going to need all 3 minutes here. Collins with Williams in the backfield. Walker cuts it inside, and he's taken down just inside the 30.
Again, that's just straight power. That's just their base play out of a little bit of an unbalanced formation. No, we got a Panther down.
Injury timeout on the field.
It's Taplin, the kid who made the play on that, but
It looks like he's holding his throat. I mean, if there's any good news about that, then the likelihood is that's something he can return from.
sure.
As you see, 2:27 will reset here. Camden scored first. It was Hawkins on a 7-yard touchdown pass in the first quarter. Delsea answers back after Camden misses the extra point. It's blocked. Williams with a touchdown run. They return the favor with a blocked extra point. And here you see the replay, and hard to tell right there. And then, of course, it was Harris who runs 7 yards for the touchdown to put Camden ahead.
Could have been just almost a foot, or heel, the way he got twisted up in there and just got up underneath the face mask a little bit. But he looks like he'll be all right.
2nd down and 5. Ball spotted at the 30-yard line. I'll reset the clock. It moves inside of 2:30. Right up the gut, about 2 yards, and they're saying it's down.
Yeah, you know what, there, you see, again, you take a look at the chess match. Now Johnson lined up at DN. They're kind of moving them all over the place now, trying to figure out, where to best utilize them, and can they try to force one in there to the fullback, and lost the yard. Big 3rd down again.
3rd down and 3, so a Pickup of about 2 on the play. Williams in the backfield, and Williams gets it, and depending on the spot, will he have enough? It's one of those right foot, left foot spots. I think they're going with the right foot here, and I think he's going to have enough for the first down. He does.
He does. And now that's a big conversion. Delsea's now 2 of 5 on third down in the first half here, and that's critical because now again you got 1:41. Delsea with 1 timeout left, ball in the 25, and for the most part, time is not a factor, but they're going to have to speed up their tempo a little bit to the ball just to get their plays off.
In the same breath, of course, they would love to score by taking some time off of the clock, and it's always that fine line you walk. Collins hands it out. Bascom strings it outside, and a hard-earned 3 yards.
It sure was. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. So again, now time is starting. Now we're just about under a minute before this play gets off. They're going to have to probably come back to that boot, that waggle play, little play action, where they hit Bascom across the middle. At some point, that's got to come back, or maybe it's some type of screen off of that, a nice, easy, safe throw.
Inside of 1 minute now, second down. Collins keeps, looks to throw, has his man, it's caught. Bascom is in for the touchdown.
That's what you're saying. That was the same play they ran a little earlier, just came from a different side. You know, you fake your fullback, you fake your buck sweep going away from it, and now you got that wing on the opposite side coming across on a drag. Great throw, you know, and here you go. This is a crucial extra point here.
Well, we talked about Collins being able to manage this football team, and that was not an easy pass. Fine hookup, Collins to Bascom. And Dobzinski, his kick is blocked again.
Al, hey, again, that was a great answer there by Delsea, leaving minimal time on the clock as well. Got just 47 seconds remaining in the half here. You know, and we're tied up here. Let's see. What are you going to do? Are you going to squib? Or are you going to go deep? You know, it's one of those deals. You get the ball at 45-yard line. All right, and then here you go. There you go. There's your fake to your fullback, little token fake to the back. It's this nice little crossing route there. You know, and he finds the end zone. It was the one right before the play. I kind of mentioned that they might have go back to it because he was so wide open the last time they ran that. You know, again, you lull him to sleep with the run, and then boom, you throw that little boot play. And there you are. You're sitting. Game's tied now.
Here's the block.
Falls down. Looks like a good hold, and it's Stevens again. He's just a big man in there. You know, he's 6'7", 289 pounds. You know, and he really doesn't have to jump. He just puts his hands up, and all of a sudden now he became 8 foot. You know, 9 foot there. He's a big guy.
Is there a way to stop that?
You try to get their hands down. You do.
And how do you do that?
You low leverage, and try to his strike point should be around the belly button. You know, just to make sure his hands do come down. You don't want to try to get into an upper body violence match with him.
Dobzinski kicks it deep. This is taken at the 18-yard line, and Hawkins brought down at about 34. So Camden with 40 seconds left, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not they play conservatively here. I have a sense that they're going to go and they're going to kind of try to score a touchdown here.
They're attacking. They're clearly attacking. Here you go, 5 wides. And there's time on the clock. Let's play. They got, you know, a couple timeouts remaining.
Trips left. 2 split right. Harris. No rush, has time, throws underneath. And at the 45-yard line, finds Hawkins.
That was that play that when they had, Perez open early in the game, and they still had him open right down the seam. It's a nice little short motion play. But again, you can't argue with a 12-yard completion on first down. But you got to remind, they have to score a touchdown. Apparently, they don't field goal kicking is not an option.
Clock moving inside of 25. Harris throws. It's Hawkins again. Hawkins and able to go out of bounds. No. They say that his forward progress is stopped, and one man stopped the clock, one man did not. From here, it looks like the clock should have been stopped. 12 seconds remaining.
With 12 seconds remaining in the half.
Now, it looks as though Camden called a timeout either way. An opportunity for them to make sure they get the play that they want.
Right, and you got to take a look here. You know, you choose a nice little check down route. Does he stay in bounds? You know, the officials, I guess, calling forward momentum is stopped prior to him dumping out, but I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, to me, you got to give that guy the benefit of the doubt at the very least.
The kid was diving out of bounds.
Not only that, the ball, when he's lunging out, theoretically is forward progress, so it should be spotted there. To me, that's out of bounds, but hey. So Camden here will look to move the football. Remember, the kicking game is not their strength, so they're going to have to get pretty deep into Delsea territory to opt for a field goal attempt.
You got to remember that Harris here is 9 of 14 so far for just 88 yards, but there's some big plays here that I think that are still left on the field. Clearly, Delsea's going to soften up, play everything underneath as much as possible here. You're looking at a single safety high now against 4 receivers, 3-by-1 here.
Camden will probably have to get to about the 10-yard line to attempt a field goal. And they're resetting the clock. They're saying there's 15 seconds left. So I don't know whether you dial up a Hail Mary here or.
You don't necessarily need that yet, Rob, I don't think. Again, clearly what they're trying to do is give it to Hawkins in space and let him run and try to get some yards after the catch. But I just don't think you don't need to resort to that yet.
2nd down and 5 at midfield. Harris back to pass, across the middle, has his man, and he's hit immediately at the 24-yard line.
Tremendous hit by Bourget, and that's a big-time throw, and they found a soft window there in the 3 deep coverage. And that was a great crossing route. You take a look here.
Looks like a penalty flag is down.
It does, but you see this. It's a great throw. Oh, and that was a tremendous hit. Personal foul here.
So that's going to move the ball closer. We talked about the personal foul earlier. The face mask that really hurt Camden. This could come back and bite Delsea. With 7 seconds left, theoretically, you could get as many as 2 plays off.
2. Yep, 2 if they're quick shots.
Right now, Camden's not even aware that they say that they are waving it off. Is that not tacked on afterwards?
It's.
Panthers will take a result of play, which is a 1st down at the 25-yard line.
Not exactly sure what they call. You know, if it's roughing the passer, clearly it gets tacked on. But
doesn't any personal foul get tacked on?
It's a mystery. It's a mystery right now.
I mean,
it's a mystery.
I've been doing this for a while. That's always how I've interpreted it. But you're the football coach.
No, yeah, just not. We're, there's a bunch of us trying to figure out what's going on right now. Why didn't I get tacked down? But hey, here you go. Regardless, nevertheless.
Last play, most likely of the half. 5 seconds left. Bunch set to the right for Camden, and Sal Marquez calls timeout.
You got to be here. You have to make sure you're in the exact coverage that you want. You know, here, you're a jump ball away from being down, and that's all you need. You know, you need to throw it up, give these receivers a shot, use their athleticism. And next thing you know, you go into the locker room down by 6.
Is that what you do here?
You know,
do you maybe just have a mush rush, maybe a couple guys, and try to double team Hawkins?
Yeah, you know what? You want to make sure. I think you definitely send your 3 down guys. Maybe send a backer. You know, I guess almost a staggered blitz. Let these guys engage, and then a little bit of a delayed blitz off either up the middle, which I think is probably your best option. And then play coverage. You have to. I
mean, at this point, with the ball at the 24-yard line, you're not necessarily afraid of Harris running the football because it's not that he can't make it. He's got a long way to go. But you want to put on a little bit of pressure. But you have to think it's going to be a jump ball to Hawkins.
That's what you think. Because he's got to score. You know, if he's going to run around, you know, you still got 24, 25 yards to rally to it. But if you take a look at their D here, they're putting 4 right across basically the 5-yard line. And here's the important thing is knock it down. You know, make sure you're not tipping any balls up in the air where a teammate, where one of those guys can pick it out of the air.
4 receivers split right. Harris back to pass. Has time. No pressure. Throws it up. Has his man. Tipped away. And that will end things in the first half. It looked like for just a moment there was an opening, but the play broke down, maybe a little late on the throw.
A little late, and it's a long throw. He was kind of flushed a little bit to his left, trying to go diagonal across the field. So if you take a look here, right, he got flushed just a little bit, and now he's open. He is, but now that 25-yard throw just became 40 yards because of, of where he had the ball placement. And that was a real good play on the DBs.
Chiguera with a fine defensive play. He is maybe their top athletic talent for this Delsea team, illustrating some of that shutdown ability. And what a game we've had. Camden and Delsea evenly matched, scores even. Can't wait for the second half. We head to break. Your Atlantic City Electric game of the week is the Group 3 state championship. We're knotted at 12. Welcome back to Rowan University, and the second half is underway. Delsea taking possession of the football at the 15 Bascom, and he is brought down just inside the 30, 1st and 10 Crusaders.
Another nice play by Josh Clark there. We're going to see, Rob. We're going to see what halftime adjustments have been made, if any. Both teams, are they happy with their performances on both sides of the ball? Well, we'll see what happens here. I think if you look at the first half totals here, right, plays are almost identical, right? Your passing yards are nowhere near close, but hey, Delsea's been just as effective with their 2 completions. Clearly 2 big completions there.
1st and 10 Crusaders. Collins hands it off, and again, that deception is just so difficult to handle if you are a defense. A big chunk again, 8 yards. I would be remiss if we did not talk a little bit, Frank, about that call to end the first half. We said, why would they not take a personal foul? We had an opportunity to speak to Bill Van Cat, who is the officiating evaluator, and he explained to us that because of the nature of the play, they would have had to take the ball from the spot, and the gain on the pass was appreciably more. So well done, Bill Van Cat, providing us with some insight there.
Because the ball was not caught yet, because the ball was still traveling. Then again, that's when the option, got to come in. Either you want the result of the play, or do you want to enforce the foul?
So Delsea, 2 straight plays, 2 straight runs, and the beat goes on. First down just outside the 40-yard line for the Crusaders. Frank, we've had a great football game already, very evenly played. The score is representative of that. What are we doing differently on each side of the ball if you're the coach? I
don't know if you are doing a ton differently. I just think you got to defend their edge. Edge plays a little bit if you're Camden, because I think number 20 here in the first half, Charles Walker, he had his way, I think, on the perimeter. He's had a very nice half on jet sweeps, so you want to defend that. But again, you got to make that decision, as we said a bit earlier. Who do you want to be, the fullback giving up the option, or if it's going to be Walker maybe on the edge? So, again, this game could come down to whoever has the ball last, right?
Indeed. Well, we talked about it before. We said the team that makes the first extra point wins. So about a 4-yard pickup, 2nd down for the Crusaders at the 45-yard line. Collins hands it off, and just leaning forward for maybe 2 yards is Samuel.
And a really nice play on the run through there by DeMille Parker. He had a little something going, but again, he got tracked down from the back end of it. Clear good closing speed. It's obvious why this kid Parker is going to Maine. He's a really good football player.
I've been impressed with Parker.
Sorry, I apologize. Thomas is the guy going to Maine. I apologize on that, but Parker's had a really, really good football game.
Parker has been impressive today defensively, and Thomas certainly has been impressive as well offensively. 3rd down and 3. This is a big stop for Camden, able to execute. I was about to say that's kind of the sweet spot for Delsea, 3rd down and 3 with all those different options, but take your hat off to Camden. They're forcing them here to make a decision on a punt.
No doubt. It looks like Delsea's going to go for it again. You got to be careful here of the no play, where they're going to bark out signals, jump, shift, trade, jump, to try to see if you can get, Camden to come across the field and get a free 5 yards here and a free 1st down.
4th down, a big play here early in the 3rd quarter. Walker in motion. Collins hands it to Walker. Walker breaks a tackle across the 30, cut down. What a run by Walker.
Jet sweep again. There it is. Again, defending that edge run. It's something that they had a ton of success with. And, they're getting overlots. If you look at it again, you're watching the unbalanced line, motion away, creating a numbers advantage to you, and great call there on 4th down and 1.
I think that play right there personifies Delsea football because you have a 4th down. Sal Marquez does not hesitate. It speaks to his belief in his system, in his players, and it has paid dividends throughout the years. What a play. Big 1st down for Delsea. Collins again hands it off, right up the gut, pickup of about 3 or 4. And again, a lot of these runs, 3-4 yards, you look at them, not very impressive, but you pick up 3-4 yards every single time. It's just one more 1st down after one more 1st down.
It wears on you. It does. It just that physical pounding, and it's right in. That's how Delsea's built. That's how their foundation is. They're built inside out from having a great line to some very talented backs.
Impressive drive here for the Crusaders inside of 8 minutes now in this 3rd quarter. Collins under center, and Collins keeps. Cuts it inside, Collins, and he's taken down.
Really nice job again reading that option. There you go. You take a look that the fullback was taken away. Now he starts to put the ball under. Say, I can't get that pitch out there to number 3, Bascom. I'm just going to tuck it down and get maybe 9 yards, close enough to measure here on 1st down here.
Well, that would be a big statement on Delsea's part if they can drive right down here and score to start things in the 3rd quarter.
Oh, it will, and it's that kind of, hey, coach is telling you you're 24 minutes away on the other side, and take a peek here at the measurement.
1st down.
And then you sit there and you come out of the gate, and now you have a 70-yard drive. It is a little deflating. It is, so they need to stop. They need to stop. Here goes. It's a red zone opportunity.
Ball spotted at the 17-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Crusaders. They'll restart the clock here at 7:32. Collins directing traffic along with the center. Williams right up the middle. Williams, one tackle away from the end zone.
That's just straight belly. That there's no read there. Let's get the great surge, great push there. You look at number 66 there, Mark Cheney, doing a great job up front. Just get behind that guy and go.
At the 7-yard line, 2nd down. Just shy of the 1st down. Inches to go for the 1st. Williams. They'll have enough for the 1st down, but not before being punished.
It was all window dressing. It was the same exact play, just different formation. Same exact play, just a little bit of a different motion, but hey, why change something? You're going behind a 5'11", 295-pound kid Mark Cheney, who is also the heavyweight on the state championship wrestling team last year as well. So it's not a bad decision.
No,
not a bad decision.
Again, that speaks to just some of the grit of this Delsea football team. 1st down and goal. Crusaders. Handoff. And it looked like it was Bascom there. Nowhere to go.
Cam did a real good job there at the point of attack. Just creating a pile. So he almost at simultaneous of the handoff, there was just people in his face. Couldn't have anywhere to go. He couldn't make any cuts. So it was a really well-defended play. Looks like the field is becoming very left-handed. It's coming to the near sidelines here, with the exception of the jet sweep on 4th down. Looks like everything's kind of going behind our big fellow here, Mark Cheney, and his partner there, Tyler Kelly.
This opening drive has taken up over half of the third quarter. And that, if you're the head coach of Delsea, that's exactly what you want.
Exactly. Keep the ball out of Camden's hands, no doubt.
Collins hands it off, and we're going to have a penalty flag here. We may have a hold. We'll see. The ruling on the field is a touchdown.
That flag was launched from the back judge, who was basically standing under the goalpost.
Holding. They did move the flag because it is a spot foul.
Yep.
Well, we talked before about penalties.
They're killers.
And inside the red zone, it's magnified.
No doubt, and especially in this situation, because you're looking at second and goal with no ability to get a first down. But so who knows? You know, see again, if you're coach, you know, Marquez, what are you coming back with? That jet sweep's been great for you. But this half also, you've been hitting them with fullback belly behind Cheney and Kelly.
You have to respect the pass at this point, given what Collins has been able to execute thus far. Second down and goal. Collins, hands off. It's Walker, and Walker is taken from behind. Fine play made by Jamal Holloway. We talked about Holloway in the open, and that's a big stop.
Yeah, Holloway and Parker did a real good job. Again, now they faked that belly, and then they gave it to the far wing back. If you look here, they faked that belly. Then they brought the wing back, number 20, Walker, and it was just strung out perfectly. They did a real nice job. That play it's a great play because again, all eyes are inside, but it takes some time for that play to develop off the edge, bringing that far back all the way around to the near sidelines again. Here it is. Here's your waggle again.
Third down and goal. You see Thomas directing traffic defensively. Shuttle pass up the middle, and it is Walker, but far from the end zone. And it'll be interesting here. They have had no success on the extra points that you kick a field goal.
Again, if you had no success, but look, now that's a little bit of basically that's an extended handoff. That's going to be another pass for Delsea.
Yep.
But regardless, that's
a high percentage pass.
It is. It's a very high percentage, but at the same side, it's counteracting that boot. It's something, a complement play off it where it's boot, and then they're waggle rather than they're shuffling it back underneath.
Well, we'll see.
Here we go.
They can elevate this kick. Dubzanski's kick is up. The kick is good. Well, the first ball finds its way through the uprights, and that is the difference in the football game right now.
At this point it is, and that is look at the time of possession on that drive. You're talking right there about a 7-minute, 8-minute drive, almost an 8-minute, a little over an 8-minute drive here. Good hold, you know, good job up front there. You didn't let Stevens get the pressure which he had on the previous 2 extra points. No, and there you go. You take a 15-12 lead with 3:59 remaining here in the third.
25-yard field goal for Dubzanski. Camden has yet to touch the football in this second half.
So again, it becomes the thing that you're going to squib it and give them great field position. Are you going to kick it deep? You know, it's one of those things, and you stress out over it every time you got to kick the ball. You know, but their kick coverage has done a pretty good job as well. So the first one, you know, everyone kind of got out of their lanes and the ball went through.
Now with Hawkins playing all the way up at the 20, as a coach, do you signal in, listen, let's try to kick it over his head? Or is it the play called beforehand and we're sticking to it?
No, you can definitely check it. There's so many different ways, but again, it all comes down to our kicker's leg here.
Kick. It's a low line drive right to Hawkins at the 20. Hawkins at the 30. Hawkins to the 40. Hawkins cuts it outside across midfield.
And he is run out of bounds by Kizzy.
I don't know. If you're going to kick it short, I'm not sure that's the guy to kick it to.
No, maybe it should have went over to, again, being very respectful to Terrence Moore over there, but maybe he might have been the guy that you might have want to kick that to. But it's the factor of you kick a low kick, your coverage team doesn't have a whole lot of time to get down there, and you can end up springing a big return here.
which is exactly what Hawkins did. Breaching midfield, first down and 10 at Camden on offense for the first time in this second half. Moore sets up behind Harris. Handoff, Moore driving with the legs. Stopped after 3 or 4 yards, but you see that great second and third effort by Moore.
And Camden right now, just stay with what you were doing, mixing it up, going with your good balance between run and pass. Remember, that touchdown came off the board on that penalty, so that's huge. You're only a field goal.
It's a great point.
It's a field goal game now, so Camden now maybe got a little bit of confidence regardless, even if you gave up that field goal, and now you're playing from behind a little bit.
Bunch formation left, empty backfield. Harris, rocket screen, finds his man, and maybe a pickup of 2 at the most. Again, showing that formation repeatedly as they hook up to Perez.
Very manageable third down here. You're third and 5.
Third and about 6 with the ball at the 45.
They're going to come out 3 by 1 here.
Trips right. Looks like Thomas in the backfield. Harris, deep drop, gets pressure, and he's sacked.
Big number 77, a 5'10", 270-pound nose guard, Miles Lindsay. He does a nice job. Is really, truly pass rush right through Thomas there in the backfield who was trying to block a nose guard. That's a mismatch there. It really is. That's just a great effort getting to the cue. And unfortunate because you had a great release up top by Hawkins, and he looked like he was open initially on the fade route.
You got a Ferrari against an 18-wheeler. It's not going to turn out well. Camden's punt is away. It's going to be short. It may have been partially blocked. They'll get a good roll, though, and it'll be down to inside the 30-yard line, close to the 28.
That's big. That was a friendly roll for him. That turned out nice. So here we go. It's a big stop. You can't give up another one of those 8-minute drives. So game's over. So this is a critical possession here where Camden needs to force, a 3-and-out, extend maybe one first down here. They also need to get the ball back in positive field position.
First and 10, Crusaders. They've had most of the possession here, and Williams just driving, head of steam, low center of gravity, bulling his way forward, a couple more yards, a very makeable second down.
Let's look at it. Now again, it's that plain old. Look at that lead block right there by number 20. Charles Walker, selfless guy right there. He's getting some great blocks early in the game, or late, on that big 4th down on the edge. That was a huge, huge block there. Great lead block there by Walker.
2nd and 5. Collins hands off. Bascom and Holloway trying to rip the ball out. Bascom picks up 1 or 2.
Parker right there again, nice little stop. Everything kind of again coming. Looked like they're becoming a little left-handed in the second half here, which maybe they found something. It was something they saw at halftime. Said, we got to keep going. But it does make sense when you're sitting here looking at the left side of the line, especially, with Cheney and Kelly. In our center here, Bailey Lenny's doing a real nice job as well. So he's seen about 4 or 5 different nose guards at this point.
If this is a running play, it'll likely be the last play of the third quarter. It has been a quick one, and Camden jumps off sides. And you have to believe that's a call again from the sidelines.
Yeah, no doubt. Just by you look at the way of motion, by number 20 there, Walker, when he came in motion, it looked like it was a bluff fake, with the quarterback. I don't even know if there was an intent there to snap it. It may have been one of those, and next thing you know, you're killing it and maybe burning a timeout there to get your best play call. So there he is. He's bellying. The quarterback never even made a fake, just to draw them off sides.
Because they will rewind the clock after the dead ball, it will allow them to run the clock out, and that will be the last play of the third quarter. So Delsea with The preponderance of possession in the third quarter has allowed them to take the lead. It was a 25-yard field goal. We head to break. Delsea on top of Camden, 15-12 in your Group 3 championship game. Welcome back to Rowan University. The start of the fourth quarter in the Group 3 championship game. When we were away from break, first play, a long run for a first down, and Delsea continues to control the football here. If you are Sal Marquez, you could not diagram it any better, just keeping the ball out of that talented Camden team's hands.
No doubt, but the Camden run three plays in the third quarter. You can't score if you don't have the ball, right? They have to get a stop, and they got to create a turnover.
First and 10 at the 47. Collins pitches. Walker. Wow. Walker's hit. What a play. Again, you see just the talent of Ron Johnson. He was fully engaged in a block and still laid out a lick to Walker, but that almost looked like the game against
That was the
Clayton.
Giant.
Yep.
That was also the Giant Super Bowl right there.
Yeah, that's right.
That ball is almost on the ground. It's a difference. He pinned that thing right up against his helmet, which slowed down the integrity of the play. And therefore it allowed Johnson to be able to fight off a defender, and also then come in and make a really nice stop.
Second down and 8. Right up the gut. It's Collins. Collins pushes forward, leans, and he'll have a first down. What a gutty kid.
Yep, that's midline right there. Quarterback either gives it at fullback or he keeps it himself. If you watch it here, he has to make a decision. Number 3 leads him through the hole. There's no intent for him to pitch that football at all. It's either a give, or a run, and it goes back. How good can you be with or without the football in your hand? And there's everything looking the same, and it is looking the same. It causes a lot of conflict for the D.
When I watch this game, Frank, all I can think is that we have 2 championship teams right here, and someone's going to come away empty. Right up the gut, Williams. About 8.
Just pounding it right at him. That's their MO, there's no doubt. Then you don't rush for 4,000 yards on a season by accident. You're committed to it. That's what you're doing every day at practice, and you're built for moments like this when you have to run the football. Normally it's cold out. It's one of those days, but this is just, taking their will a little bit here.
Well, this is a drive to history for Delsea. They're looking for their 4th straight. These seniors will go away with 4 championships if they're victorious today. No one can say that in South Jersey if they are above the Group 1 level. Collins hands it right up the gut. And again, that will be shy of the first down, and now some business afterwards. This will result in unsportsmanlike conduct or a personal foul. Either way, one coach is going to be very unhappy.
We got multiple penalties here. He threw a flag, threw his hat.
This is where you start taking off your socks.
I think he threw his buddy's hat. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things going on here. Might sense here a little bit of a little frustration here on Camden's part, knowing that this is what they're doing, and we can't stop it.
Personal foul, Delsea. So offsetting. It's like kissing your sister. Nobody's happy after that. Third down and 1. And again, clock continues to run. It's a big play. 3rd and 1. Collins drives forward, and more than enough. You have to say that right now, Delsea's just getting it done at the point of attack, and another penalty flag. We'll see if this happened after the completion of the play, because that will change everything. It's going against Camden, so actually it won't change anything. It's going to be 15 more yards.
Conduct against Camden.
Again, here you're just sensing some frustration here. They've run 3 plays in the second half. 3. And we have 9:22 left in the game here. And as you just alluded to, that Delsea's chasing history here.
So half the distance to the goal line will take him to the 12, and Delsea is in the driver's seat. Leading by 3, they can turn it into a 2-score game here. First down, 10 at the 12-yard line. Williams in the backfield for Collins and the Crusaders. Jet sweep and slung out of bounds for Samil.
Samil on the carry.
Pretty much right now, anything that the coach Marquez dials up right now is working. And this is right what they want: 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, and then all of a sudden it's going to bust. Maybe you bust the big one.
Is it too early if you're Coach Marquez to say, listen, even on those runs, I prefer that you stay inbounds?
At this point, you just still want your athletes being athletes. Clearly, you would love to be able to eat some clock, but you're not necessarily in that mindset yet. You're still trying to put points on the board because it's still a field goal game.
Second down and 7 at the 9. Collins hands it off, and not a whole lot there, maybe 2. And it'll be interesting because if Camden can stop them, then Delsea has to figure out, what are we doing? Field goal, well, Camden then can time on a touchdown, and then it comes down to the old extra point again.
It does, and do you settle for a field goal, or do you sit there and go, our D's, going to play well, and we're going to sit there and make them drive 95 yards, for a championship, to win the championship.
And let's face it, a lot of it's probably going to be dictated by how much they need to get that first down.
Yep.
Third down and 6 from the 8-yard line. Collins inside, touchdown, Bascom.
Went back to traditional wing T counter crisscross there. Where it's the double handoff. First time they pulled that one out. You're getting another flag here, probably for excessive celebration in the end zone here. But that was basically traditional wing T stuff. It looks like it's going jet sweep to the strong side, and then all of a sudden, man, you hand that back off to the weak side, get Camden overflowing, get over pursuing, and bam, next thing you know, Bascom's in the end zone, and we got ourselves a 9-point ball game.
So that will go against Delsea. And they will mark that off on the kick. Dobzhansky on to attempt the point after. Ironically, he's 0 for 2 on extra points and 1 for 1 on field goals. Collins is the holder. Keep an eye on him. 9-point lead, trying to make it 10. His kick again is blocked. Who can figure it out?
Back him up at a 30. Make it the NFL extra point. We'll be in good shape. 9-play, 61-yard drive. That's, again, right in Delsea's wheelhouse. Taking time off the clock.
Let's take a look at the touchdown here, Frank.
Here you go. You got him thinking. Again, it's jet sweep to 20, who's been, Walker's had a great day on it. Little hand back. Ball never leaves his hip. It goes from back hip to his front hip to his back hip. Nice, easy exchange there, and he walks in the end zone. It's a really nice complimentary play to their jet sweep, which they've been running extremely successful, especially with Walker.
Again, one thing we haven't talked about, another tremendous crowd on hand here, overflow crowd. The stands can't even hold all the spectators. Delsea has brought most of Franklinville with them. Camden also well represented. I saw some of the Michigan faithful running around, a couple of the Michigan coaches here to watch a couple of their players. And this time it was Holloway who blocked that kick. But Again, just a tremendous atmosphere here for championship football.
Oh, it is. It's a great venue. I believe it was 2011 when the state actually made South Jersey teams, come to a neutral site and come to this venue. And, for some, this is the only college experience they're going to get, playing on a college football field, and then you're playing in front of a crowd that you've never played in front of. It really is. It's a special day. Clearly you want to win this thing. There's no doubt about that. But at the end of the day, you sit there and you had a tremendous experience.
They're kicking off from the 25 as a result of the penalty. Look at that squib kick, and it will find its way out of bounds. If you're Camden, you breathe a sigh of relief. They're saying that it did go out of bounds. The question is, was it touched?
If so, I'd make them kick it again.
Take a look at Camden's schedule this year. They started out with a big win against Highland, and then, of course, the loss to Delsea and lost to Camden Catholic. Other than that, pretty smooth sailing.
Yes, it's a tremendous run, and what Coach Savage has been able to do, since 2012, and he's got 33 wins and 9 losses has been remarkable.
Of course, Delsea, we talked about what a season they had, giving up 34 points to Hamilton. I may have misspoke earlier in the game, but 34 points to Hamilton, that's the only blemish on their record.
And sometimes when you lose one midseason, it might be a little bit of an eye-opener and get back to basics and make you work a little bit harder. But, you never question anything that the Delsea program does. Coach Marquez in his 23 years now accumulated 183 victories and is on his way to another title.
They take the penalty. He'll kick from the 20. Low line drive and handled by Hawkins. At the 32, Hawkins evades one tackler. He won't evade the other 7 Crusaders.
Credit Delsea there. They're flying down to the football, and they're making a kid who's very talented right there. Kind of making it very challenging for him and not giving him any space there. Hawkins a little slow to get up there on that too. Now this is definitely crunch time. You're down 2 scores, 9 points, and you only have 7 minutes left, and you've run 3 plays this half.
First down and 10. 40-yard line, 7:07 left. Only the second series of the second half for Camden. That truly is the story. Harris back to pass, a lot of time, throws it underneath, and short hops his receiver. I thought they got away with a motion penalty there.
He looked like he was going towards the line of scrimmage at the snap of the ball. He does, and then you have guys open. He does. So it's a really well-conceived route. Looks like there's some communication between a couple of the receivers about, hey, did you run the right thing there? But regardless, at the end of the day, you had a shot. Perez was open, and fortunately, just came up a little short.
I think one thing Camden has to be afraid of is trying to score too quickly here. Get your score. You can still win this football game. You're just 2 scores away.
Still in it, yeah.
Harris rolls to his right, throws, caught. Is he in bounds? Yes. Right at midfield, that should be a first down.
It's really good. It's really nice body control right there. It was a sideline throw. Hawkins went out, got it with his hands, which a lot of receivers want to trap things in with their body, especially by the sidelines. You have to get your hands on the football. And here you go. Camden's clearly in a hurry up now, trying to get as many plays in as they can.
First and 10, Panthers at midfield. Handoff, Thomas, and he is enveloped by Crusaders.
It's that theory again. You just gave up a little big play. Here comes the blitz, right? It's exactly what they did. It was a run blitz there, and now you're in 2nd and 12.
And as much as the defensive stop helps, the fact that they're running the ball and forced to use clock, that also favors Delsea. 2nd down and 12. Harris again with the deep drop, looks to set up the screen, throws underneath, has his man, and a penalty flag here. We may have an illegal lineman downfield.
Yeah, it looked like it was a screen that never developed. You had receivers that were trying to figure out who was on, who was off. Could have been an illegal motion call before the snap even took place. Now you had illegal men downfield. look, here he is, looking around, trying to find a receiver. Now you got to end up throwing. You got a bunch of them, 56, 50, 53 just joined the party late, and here comes 54 for good measure. So, you end up with four linemen downfield on that play. But again, it was a screen.
When you got the guys who have the 5s on their jersey, the lead, and they're past the first down marker, you got a problem.
A little bit. A little bit of a problem here. But the problem here now, it's 2nd and 17.
Harris again, deep drop, sets up the screen and a whole lot of traffic. And now another penalty. It looks like they may call pass interference here. I don't know. Looking for Thomas. He has to breach the line of scrimmage, correct, in order for that to be pass interference? Is that correct?
Again, I don't know what they're really talking. If linemen can't be downfield unless the ball is caught behind the line of scrimmage,
it is
but
pass
they're calling pass interference here.
What's amazing is that, again, we saw how pass interference. Here it is. Here's the play.
I guess he's saying he was on the other side of the line of scrimmage, therefore, so there, and you can't tackle a guy before the ball's caught. So, it's debatable. It was that fine line of where was the contact initiated? Was it behind the line of scrimmage? We're in front of it. Regardless, it's not an automatic first down, but it's still now it's back to something manageable here on 2nd down.
2nd and 3 at the 43. Harris getting flushed out of the pocket, has a man by himself. At the 35 is Thomas, and Thomas bowls his way forward inside the 30.
That's a great play call. Again, here they come after something about a little bit of adversity. Here they come with the blitz, right? Hit that little swing route, get a guy in space. You're in good shape.
Well, we've seen how critical penalties have been in this football game. Another big penalty, this time against Delsea, allows Camden to bounce back.
Here you go. They're sending a bunch of people up. Got a D-end off the edge, unblocked. Little swing route, in sky and space. Nice play for the Panthers.
1st and 10. Harris and penalties.
Penalty markers are thrown prior to the snap of the ball. False start.
Whoa.
There you go. 1st and 15 now. Again, behind the sticks. Just continuity.
You're seeing a little loss of composure by both teams.
You are. You really are. It's starting to spin out of control a little bit here. And the reality of it is a 9-point game. There's still 5:48 left in the game. Camden starting to move the ball a little bit here. Punch one in. You got to make it. Then you're going to have to make another decision. What are you doing? Are you kicking it deep or trying for an onside kick?
Clock continues to move. 1st and 15. Harris with the deep drop. Looks to the end zone. We have some contact. And they're going to just let him play.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Just let him go on that one. Ford kind of stopped. Singleton kind of stopped his route. There might have been a little bump here and there, but let him play on that one.
I think the fact that ball probably was not catchable plays into the decision making as well.
A little bit. That ball was almost thrown out of the end zone.
2nd and 15. Trips left. Hawkins split wide right. Harris again has a man right up the middle, and it's dropped. Wow. Well, that's tough. As
Pratt was there.
Dropped the football. We saw that earlier in the game where Pratt was trying to run before he actually had possession of the football. We see the same thing. Pratt's looking to run before he has the ball completely in his hands.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You got Malcolm Henry coming off the edge there, and maybe Harris got it out quicker than maybe he wanted it to, but good throw. Need to put it away.
3rd and 15. Harris down the middle. Almost picked off. Jaguara.
There he is. He's had a really, really nice game. All over in pass coverage and run support. Could have iced it. He could have iced it there.
Well, yeah, 2 plays in a row, the ball should have been caught.
Yeah.
And now this is a critical 4th down. 5:20 left. Obviously, Camden, even if they don't make it, has time to still win this football game. The problem is that if Delsea can string together a couple first downs, then it's ball game. 4th and 15 from the 32-yard line. 4 receiver set. for the Panthers. Harris throws, incomplete. He just didn't set his feet there.
He didn't. He's, sometimes you start chasing ghosts.
Yep.
You sit there and Henry's been in your backfield the last 4 or 5 times you drop back. All of a sudden you become a little antsy. The eyes drift completely off being downfield. They get more concerned about the rush. He did. He was drifting he was going more east and west, drifting to the sidelines and couldn't get an accurate throw. Good play design, trying to get a bench route, a sideline route, to again, one of your top players.
Well, Delsea has been here before. We know that. And Delsea now will look to do what they've done so many other times, is deliver the deciding blow. Handoff, bouncing off one tackle. It looked to be Bascom.
Bascom carries the ball for Delsea. He's stopped by Damian Thomas.
It's not like this drive is going to be any different than the previous drives, Rob.
No.
They're just pounding it.
The problem with Delsea, they're going to run the ball. You just don't know where it's almost like playing the Harlem Globetrotters. Where's the ball?
It is. It's very true. And it circles back again to the top when we talked. He's a trigger guy.
Yep.
He's more than a manager.
Yep.
He orchestrates his offense perfectly. So you have that deception of who has it. He's very patient with his reads. And then next thing you know, you fall asleep, you focus too much on the fullback, he springs it.
Delsea trying to use as much clock as possible now. We'll call timeout. I like that. They try to draw them off sides. They have a very long second down here. They understand how important this drive is, and no harm in burning the timeout there.
No. Again, you're in control. As a coach, you're not thinking you're going to need those timeouts down the road here. So call no play here. Try to get them to get that free 5, make it a little bit of a more manageable second down. But you're in your mindset again. It's 2 downs. You are basically a first down or 2 away from your 4th consecutive title.
As a coach, Frank, you and I both coaches. When I watch a game, it's hard not to just respect so many of the little things that Sal Marquez does. A lot of times you kind of get lost in the fact that, well, okay, they win championship, they must have a ton of talent, whatever. You see all the little nuances that he brings here, and that's why they're so successful.
No doubt. They're a tremendous program, and everything that they get, they've earned. Here you go in a little spec jet to the sidelines here.
Second down. 9. Walker strings it outside. Walker cut down. And now if you're Camden, do you call timeout?
Yeah, you have to start thinking about it. Again, you can't take these timeouts home. You need to make this game as long as possible now and create as many possessions as you can.
So Camden does call timeout here.
Because again, it's a little different formation. It just displaced the fullback. You have a bonus lead back, to that jet sweep. Camden did a nice job, stringing that out.
Well, the likelihood is that Camden needs this stop in order to continue with any hopes of winning this football game. Let's take a look at the replay here.
Up here, go to back. The fullback's offset. It's been that same jet sweep that they've been gashing them on. And if you look there was Thomas there doing a real nice job turning it back to his boys. And you got Parker there who's had a really good game defensively. He's been all over the field. And they were able to force this big 3rd down.
4:14 left. Delsea on top, 21-12. The 21 have come in a little bit of an odd way. No extra points, but 1 field goal. No one has made an extra point today. It's been unusual, but it has been a great game as advertised. 2 heavyweights going head-to-head, toe-to-toe, blow for blow. 3rd down, about 4. Empty backfield. Jet sweep. Walker cuts it inside, about the 42. It's going to depend on the spot. Looks like he got a good spot.
Again, it's right foot, left foot, as you said earlier.
It looked like his knee may have gone down closer to the 42. We'll take a look on the replay. Again, it's always easier from up here.
And just went to a different set, a little empty set there. You're getting Again, a good lead block. Where is he down? 42 and a half.
I don't know if we can re-rack that again, but it looked like that knee was at the 42-yard line. He got a full yard there, and again, that's the difference between a first down or not. That's tough for Camden. First down and 10 for the Crusaders. Handoff, and again, they're just going to go right up the middle and run clock, and Camden will have to answer with a timeout.
It's just staggering when you sit here and think four consecutive titles. I know above Group 1, because you got Paulsboro who had 6, Woodbury who had 4, and then you have the non-public streak of St. Joe's Hamilton, who's currently with 6. It's staggering, as a coach, and it's hard enough to get here. It's hard enough to get here once. And then to mention this is going to possibly, they're about 3.5 minutes away from their 13th title. It's amazing.
Yeah, obviously, this is a juggernaut, this Delsea team, and now you have 5 groups. It's probably going to be even tougher to stop them. There you see some of the great crowd on hand, and again, we'll take a look at first down. Here's the spot. Let's see where his knee goes. There's the knee. Okay. Now the knee's at the 2. Then he leans forward. They gave him a spot at the 43.
I think they may have gotten a favorable spot there, but hey, who knows? Delsea would probably went for it on 4th, and Ice did.
Who knows? You think they would have won 4th?
No, no, I don't. But he's got so much confidence in his team, which he should. That he thinks again, if you gain 4,000 yards in a season, you should be able to gain a yard when needed.
Second down and 9. Collins, Bascom cuts it back, and Bascom stopped. No, leans forward, and that third effort, big. They looked like they had him stopped at the 50. Instead, he springs forward for about 2 more.
If he would have possibly stayed on pylon course to the opposite pylon, you think he may have been able to go on that one. Good tough run. You got Holloway there, and you also got Parker, trying to do their best to strip it. That's what they need. They need the ball back. So you might have to sacrifice a tackle here. Normally you're taught, hey, secure the tackle, then worry about the strip, but you need that ball.
Third down. It's been Collins behind center for most of the game, and they do it again. And that's a first down. That may be all she wrote, Frank.
Rob, I think so. I think so here, my friend. I think you're going to get us, again, run the play clock down. Probably in theory, Camden's got 1 timeout. You need 1 first down with just, 2.5 minutes left. Again, credit, Coach Marquez. There's only been 2 head coaches in the history of the school. Legendary Coach John Oberg and Coach Marquez. It's phenomenal to think of the success of the program.
First and 10. Collins, who's done a tremendous job, will hand it off. And again, another pickup of about 3 or 4 yards. That's been the formula. And Rashad Williams has been a big part of that formula.
Yes, and again, you got to credit here, the offensive line here for Delsea. Cheney, Kelly, Lenny, Smith, and Lindsey, and their tight end Malcolm Henry. They've just done a phenomenal job neutralizing some really talented football players that are explosive, tough kids. And then they're having their way with them.
Second down and 7. Clock continues to move. Right up the gut, Williams. Well, if it wasn't over before, it is now.
It is now. You officially can just kneel it, and are getting ready to kneel it and hammer victory with history in the making.
Well, when you win championships, you obviously have great football teams, and you have to beat great opponents. Sometimes you beat better opponents than others. This Camden football team has a boatload of talent, and this has to be something that is very special to Coach Marquez, not only because the fact that this is a team that will go down in history with 4 consecutive championships, but they beat a quality football team.
Oh, no doubt. And You know, down the road, when you're Camden and you're now all of a sudden experiencing so much success over the last couple of years. You know, in 13 they were 10-1, you know, 9-1 in 14, 9-2. You watch this program on the rise. You know, sometimes it's just to get here is a challenge, to get over that hump. And well, now you know what it feels like. Now you know what it looks like. And again, you don't ever take it for granted. But if you're back here the next time, you know, maybe you can handle things a little differently. Maybe it, you know, the stage won't, I don't say be so big because these kids performed, but there's no doubt there's talent up and down the lineup, and they really did a tremendous job. Delsea did trying to control these.
Collins runs forward. Collins, and he steamrolls his way for a first down.
You know it's going your way when you just got 12 yards on first down on quarterback sneak.
Well, you know, in fairness to Camden, I think that they're thinking he's taking a knee there and the game's over. So, you know, they're trying to illustrate some sportsmanship, not fire off the ball, and it kind of backfires on them.
I think you're going to get it to kneel it now, and maybe they were concerned about Camden having the one timeout. You know, I think that maybe played a factor into that. It was just a quarterback sneak. So here you go. You're going to have hammer victory now. Greatest play in football, especially when you're getting ready to celebrate your school's 13th title.
Unbelievable. Quite a contrast. Earlier today we had Pennsville, who earned their second championship, against Clayton, who have had 0. 13 now for Delsea.
Again, now you got, you know, some guys playing hard still over on Camden's side who it's hard to surrender. When you've invested as much as these guys have, you know, we always say, you know, at Haddonfield, you don't make sacrifices, you make choices. You make choices to show up every day, to grind it out, to be in the weight room, to commit athletically, academically. It's hard to give up. There's still 37 seconds left on the clock, and they're still trying to play hard. So, you know, you understand that. It's just unfortunate you don't want anything to get chippy here and cloud a picture of a very well-played game. And, again, here it is, the parade. You're looking at the flags here, the parade of champions, for lack of better terms, but it's the remarkable accomplishment that we're watching here, Rob.
Timeout here with 37 seconds, as you mentioned. Delsea, who, again, started out the season and defeated a Group 5 school in Clearview, then Camden, who we see today, what a quality football program. Then they beat Timber Creek, who many people thought was the top team in South Jersey. Paul VI, always a strong program. Pennsauken and Eastern, Group 4, Group 5 schools. They only lost to Hamilton, and then it just seemed like after the Hamilton loss, they were a whole different team.
You know, again, sometimes you get back to basics, back to details. You're never as good as you think. You're never as bad as you think. And sometimes when you get that loss early in the season, it humbles you, and it gets you back to work and going back to what you do and focus on being attentive to detail on the process. You know, you can't worry about being at Rowan. They couldn't worry about, hey, can we make history, you know, again, above Group 1. You know, they couldn't focus on that. They're all distractors. Win the day, and clearly that's what happened. And, you know, that's why they're celebrating here on the 10-yard line and getting ready to have add another championship to the wall and get fitted for another ring.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, the call. And one more time, they will take a knee, and that will do it. Clock continuing to wind down here. Delsea with a season to remember. And that will do it. The Delsea Crusaders are your Group 3 state champs, defeating Camden by the score of 21-12. A great football game. You can just see how elated this football team is. They wanted to make history, and they have.
They did, and they did it great. And you know what they did in this second half, with controlling the clock, with again, there was a stretch where Camden ran 3 plays. You know, to watch the way they did it, both offensively, defensively. You know, it's a credit to them, credit to their staff, their kids. You know, and you watch this whole, you know, the crowd support that's here. It's a remarkable accomplishment on their part.
For Camden, it's a quality football team, a team that we talked about who have had themselves quite a season. They've created quite a tradition there at Camden, and they have a lot to be proud of.
They do. And again, losing hurts. There's nothing that makes it better. There's really nothing. And time does. You get back to work and you start looking at things, and at some point they're going to have to put this tape on and agonize over play calls. When you lose by a touchdown, basically 9 points, you always want plays back. You want things, but you want, do we do this? Should I have called this in a game? Did we get out schemed here? Where did it go wrong? But once you digest it, there's a ton to be proud of here. They got over the hump. They advanced, deep into the playoffs. You can't go any deeper. In the state of New Jersey, the max you can play is 12. They elongated the season. They got some remarkable kids, talented kids who are going to go on and hopefully continue to make South Jersey football proud.
Delsea, Sal Marquez, probably in a couple weeks, start all over again. Try to
You're giving them that long?
Extend that streak.
You're giving them that long
to 5. And again, he has done a tremendous job. Just this Delsea team, when you look on paper and you see a team that had only thrown 26 times coming into the season, you say, how is that possible? Well, we saw it today.
Oh, you did, and it's when we had the privilege to play them in 08 and 09, one in the semis and one in they're almost identical teams in terms of what they do. They don't change from year to year. It's not offense of the week. This is our system, and we're going to develop physically strong kids in the weight room. We're going to have backs that can run with great vision, that are all selfless kids. I don't know many programs where you could throw the ball 26 times and you're not going to have them wideouts complain. You watch their wideouts. What are they doing? They're stalking 15, 20, 30, 40 yards downfield because they're selfless. And all they care about is winning and championships, where a lot of times people would be pounding the chest, I want the ball, I want the ball, I want the ball. Here in this situation, they just want to win. They just want championships, and they rightfully earned, this one again.
Well, once again, on your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week, Group 3 champions, Delsea, victorious over Camden, 21-12. For my partner, Frank Delano, my director, Stan Ritter, I'm Rob Christ. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.